We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show, episode 549. I'm your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. Joining us this week, as always, he is the OG Undisputed Scholar. He is the Scholars of Wrestling Party Champion and one damn handsome man. He is Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, how are we feeling tonight, saucy?
I am feeling absolutely glorious, and I will give in. I will give in till I'm victorious.
I love
I
the
won't give in.
enthusiasm.
I won't give in.
I love everything about this. The energy. Let's keep it up.
Keeping it up.
Also, also joining us this week, he is also another undisputed scholar. His beard is mighty, and so is his brain. He is Scholar Brian. Scholar Brian, how are we feeling tonight?
Feeling pretty good sitting on top of this mountain watching a lot of people get shit canned.
Ugh. Oh, we'll get into that. Don't we worry. But of course, last but certainly not least, you know him, you love him. He is a purveyor of many hats. He is your Scholars of Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. He is Scholar Pete. Scholar Pete, how are we feeling tonight, sir?
As I live and breathe. And as I live and breathe, I am still your scholars champion. I mean, I must apologize. I took off last week. I was Cancooning in the beaches
In the
and
Cancooning in the Cancun?
just just off another successful title defense. What can I say? I'm going to be champion until Elimination Chamber
I, I mean,
2027.
I mean, you're one championship defense, not another. You're one
You know what?
championship.
You know what, the Scholar Brian, you bring up a good point, and with next week being Backlash, I think I think fans should tune in because I might have an interesting proposal for Backlash coming up involving the Scholars of Wrestling Championship. So,
Oh,
we gotta stay
oh,
tuned for that. But
oh!
Scholar Jeff, where are we at?
I don't
Build up
believe
for
you.
nothing pay-per-view. Sounds
Well,
like a plan.
well, now that we got to process that little bit of intriguing teasing for next week, we do unfortunately have quite a bit of very serious news we've got to talk about from this past week because, as it would seem, the yearly releases have now come upon us, and the entire wrestling world is currently in what appears to be mourning because there were some very unfortunate releases this time around. There were some very sad ones too. Uh, yeah, we got most notably. We got a number of names. We've got Zoe Stark, Alba Fire, a whole host of NXT talent, including Andre Chase. Uh, Tragically of all, we got the loss of the entire Wyatt Six, which, trust me, I'll go into that momentarily if you care to treat yourself to a little bit of rant on my part. But while that may be the more sad for me personally, the most shocking of all is Kairi Sane. It was also released along with all of these, along with other names like Aleister Black, Zelina Vega, the Motor City Machine Guns, Apollo Cruz, Santos Escobar, and a whole host of NXT talent. With that being said, now we've had some time to process this list and amount of names, I'll pitch it over to you. Immediate thoughts. What was the most shocking to you? Immediate thoughts. Go.
Well, the most shocking was obviously Kyrie saying because they're still moving with that storyline. The Asuka and Io Sky, they're still going along with that and still technically having Kyrie saying in said storyline based off what Asuka was saying in her promo on Monday. So that was kind of weird. Just like why are we still referencing someone who you just fired in in a storyline that is ongoing? Um, so that didn't really make sense to me. Kyrie Sane in general, the way that they used her during her second tenure made no sense to me. So it makes sense that the way that they fired her would make no sense to me because everything about Kairi Sane since he's been in the WWE from the beginning has made no sense to me. So seems par for the course on that one. Aleister Black, it, Zelina Vega, it's like be careful what you wish for. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say the gig in AEW was great, but he left that gig to come to WWE so that he could be in the same vicinity as his wife. And I don't even think he was in the company for a year, was he?
Just about a year, give or take
Yeah,
like a couple days, I think.
yeah, and they released both of them. Uh, I think the gross miscarriage of justice that I will let Jeff get into for the full breakdown. Uh, they just completely flubbed the entire Wyatt Six storyline. That could have been that could have been a game changer. What was it? 6 months ago, they had a thing at the Halloween Horror Nights in Universal Studios, and
Yes,
all of a
yes, they
sudden,
did. They
and
just narrowly got to missed out on going to, and I'm still kicking myself right now.
yeah, and so they thought, and the way that it came out was funny to me because it's like we're gonna release them one at a time. We're not just gonna say that the Wyatt Six is has been released. We're gonna go like 15 minutes on a schedule. Nikki Cross, uh, Joe Gacy, uh, Uncle Howdy, and then they were like, you know what, screw it. And then Dexter Loomis and Rowan are gone too, and it's like, look, I don't know how uh, true this report may be. I saw it on Twitter, so take it with a grain of salt. But the way that TKO has been running, I believe almost anything that's said about them these days. Uh, one of the apparently one of the TKO executives is not a fan of dark characters. So I don't know how true that is, but that that came out on Twitter like from journalists today. So, but NXT releases happen this time of year all the time. I bet makes you wonder how that reality show's going and what's the point of it when you just release them after 6 months. But it is what it is. But most of the main roster releases kind of came out of nowhere, really, and that's what makes this so weird.
See, I don't. I want to play devil's advocate here and say that it is unfortunate for everybody who lost their jobs and of course Kyrie Sane and Motor City Machine Guns, who I love. The problem that is occurring that nobody has been saying is that WWE is now just a powerhouse, for lack of a better word, where they only have so much time and the stars that make it make it. Obafemi is a big ass star. He retired, quote unquote, Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Like, there is such a fine time for where TKO and WWE are probably working through. So if you're not a Cody Rhodes or a big personality. Like I feel like you're not going to make it in WWE. That's why you have the alternative with AEW, who's a little bit more wrestler friendly. But again, it's also something where some of these releases, to what you said, Scholar Brian, is craziness with Kyrie going already back in Japan, like because you've been working on a story for three of these competitors for 7 months, and you're just gonna give up on that. The Wyatt Six, who have been just prominent over the last year and a half, which everybody's intrigued and you're just gonna just give them a go. It's that bubble where WWE with these ticket prices and how they are, it's just a premier product. And it's if you're not an A plus, because you could be the overall best wrestler, great on there. If you don't make an impact where TKO and WWE go, that's a big thing. Like it's unfortunate, but how WWE is, it's you're not gonna have that platform where, you know, Rhea Ripley's always gonna be at your WrestleMania. Bianca Belair is always gonna be at your WrestleMania. The Becky Lynch's and they're established, but WWE is also giving away these potential like performers that could build and give the opportunity. It's like we said with NXT. You do a show after 6 months, they're gone. What's the point? I feel like AEW right now with their rhythm and how they are, they accommodate more to the wrestlers and they're more of, hey, we have collision, we have this, like we're going to try to get you on. Where I think WWE, because of TKO and everything, it's hey, this is how things are, so this is how we're running. Scholar
And
Tarek,
this
any
and
thoughts?
this is the actual problem with what you said though. And I'm not bashing what you said because I can agree 100%. But it's like a bunch of these guys that got released were signed by the TKO regime. So it's like if you're going to overturn that quickly on people when you've done the research to sign them in the first place, if you're gonna turn like that so quickly, why are you even bothering? Because it's
Established talent,
because it's like I
established.
could have told you Alistair Black and the City Machine Guns were not going to be top of the card within a year. I could have told you that. Anybody could have told you that. So going based off of your premise, why would they even sign them in the first place if they weren't going to be used and put in a prominent spot? That is failure on TKO and
Mhm.
WWE leadership. That's just what it is. Scarlet Tarek, what do we got?
Well, to answer your question, Brian, why would they sign him in the first place? For the case of Motor City Machine Guns, it's just so they wouldn't go to AEW,
Which is where they're going to go now.
which is now where they're gonna go. So it just is like why it's just why waste
Delayed.
everyone's time. Uh Aleister Black, I was actually just about to call him Malachi Black, but but that one actually disappointed me a lot because even I even brought this up, I believe it was last week's episode, how he was originally supposed to be the voice that the caller for Randy Orton, but considering that where they're going now and how he ended up, I think that was just a ploy just to get people angry at TKO for, or more specifically, like Ari Emanuel, because he's like, oh, it's gonna be uh oh my God, what's his name?
McAfee.
Pat McAfee. I don't know why I don't know why I blanked out at his name. I know his name. Why am I blanking out on it? But got McAfee instead. So it's like, well, and then you're just gonna release him. So what was the? It's like, okay, so you're just doing it just to get everyone angry at Ari Emanuel for this. So, I'm just not buying it. Um, The Wyatt Six was just a complete wasted potential. Not liking the spooky nonsense or not. You can still have them have their characters be like dark, but they don't have to have the supernatural abilities. They could just be the master of mind games that just kind of go Joker and basically break you down by looking at you and basically seeing your character. So, so again, that's just again wasted potential, and it's just I feel like the whole thing is supposed to be in remembrance for Bray Wyatt. And it's like, okay, we don't need you anymore. You had a great introduction, and now we have nothing to go with you. You got your lantern back, and now you can go away. I'm I don't like that either. You could have used them for like a Halloween gimmick around Halloween just to keep them on board. Um Kyrie's saying I just was like, okay, she's she's like the main focal point of a feud between Io Sky and Asuka. Yes, we're still getting their match at Backlash, but now you're taking away pretty much the reason they're fighting in the first place. So now it's just a empty shell of us to get. It's like you took away what the reason like we were invested in this storyline, other than the fact that Asuka and Io Sky are just amazing wrestlers, and we know they're still going to put on a great match. But like, why take away the storyline aspect? Yes, the reports of Kyrie wanting to go back to Japan, all that. You couldn't have her at least finish this storyline and like reports coming in. It's like, oh, this was supposed to be done at WrestleMania. That's why she's getting released now. But again, you could have at least extended her contract to a point where you could actually finish an ongoing storyline. No, thank
Yeah,
you.
through Backlash.
Through
Keep her
back
through
exactly.
Backlash.
And then Santos Escobar getting released while injured. Second person since Ridge Holland since they did that. That's another one of those. That's not a good image for you, TKO slash WWE, because I believe it was Triple H's call for the specific people who are cut. Like he made the choice of who was getting cut. So
And it's like, once again, you released him and you bought him back. His
you brought
contract
him
ended.
back.
You bought him back, and did unfortunately he got hurt. But it's like you weren't doing anything with him anyway. So why? Once again, it's like, and he was just gonna. It wasn't even AEW or anything that he was going to go to. He was going to go back to Mexico. So why did you bring him back?
Didn't weren't
That
they going to
that's
make
why
him
it's
one of
like
the
it
like
makes no sense.
stars of AAA?
Yeah, I think he was going to go to CMLL. I think that was the
Hmm.
I think he was going to that. But I mean, like, it's just because they're affiliated with AEW, he's still going back to Mexico.
Hmm.
So that's the main base. So it's like, that makes no sense to me. It's a bunch of moves that don't make any sense based on their hiring techniques. Basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I'll tell you what. I will go against the grain here, at least for a moment, because some of these releases actually do make sense. Like, let's be real, Apollo Crews, for instance, isn't really moving the needle much these days. Santos Escobar, yeah, it's kind of scummy that they're releasing him while he's still injured, but I get if you're gonna be forced to cut people, whatever, it is what it is. Aleister Black and Zelina Vega, I still don't know what happened there. Like they stole Karrion Kross and Scarlett's gimmick for all intents and purposes, and then they released them, and then a matter of months later, boom, the rest of them are gone too. Like what? Like But let's be real. You knew this rant was coming as soon as these releases were going on. The past, what seems like 2 years, my You're Welcome award at the year-end awards has always been about the Wyatt Six. I like Bray Wyatt. I love Bray Wyatt. I love the Wyatt Six. I should be loving them more. But when you get something like this, and you were like, oh, they just couldn't come up with anything to do with them, that is the biggest crock of absolute BS I've ever heard in my life. They, this group, you could have done so much more without even trying. Like they just grouped them all together, and because one person was injured, they didn't have them on TV for like what, 6 months, and they kill their momentum. Like, no, you treat them like a faction. You split them up, not just like one tag team with a freebird rule going on. No, you have a tag team. You've got a woman who I don't think she ever wrestled one single match as Sister Abigail, like
Nope,
Nikki
she has
Cross.
not.
Like, meanwhile, just there's all of these members of the Wyatt Six, and you only focus on the tag team, and that's it. Like, I cannot conceive of a single practical reason why they couldn't have done exactly what they did with the Judgment Day and use them as a flexible faction. Oh, well, it would be too much TV time to have them come out to the whole big Code Orange theme. Shrink it down. Or better yet, do what AEW does with the Death Riders. Have one opening riff for like 3 seconds and then go into someone's individual theme. It's not hard. You could have put Nikki Cross in any of the women's divisions in the company. Bam. Frankly, if I had the pencil, I would have changed around the tag teams a bit. I would have swapped out, instead of the tag team being Joe Gacy and Dexter Loomis, I would have gone Joe Gacy and Eric Rowan, be your primary tag team. Put them in the tag division, let them go to town. Big guy and small guy, boom, it writes itself. As far as Uncle Howdy, have him be the mentor. You don't have to have him wrestle all the time, even though Bo Dallas is really good. You can have him do that. But frankly, I would have put him as the head mentor for everybody and put and have him prime Dexter Loomis as your spearhead. Put him in the train him, put him in the running for the Intercontinental title. Hell, you don't do it for the World Heavyweight title. Make him the future of the Wyatt legacy. Everyone else goes their separate ways. They're all still a family, but they still could have gone their separate ways. You have a fresh crop of interesting characters you could have done so much more with, and all you do is focus on the tag team. So, no, while I will fully admit I will totally believe that someone in TKO just doesn't like dark characters, quote unquote, it makes as much explanation as anything else because right now WWE is so creatively inept. Like you've got this handed in your lap. You cannot tell me that you can't come up with something with them. You know their money if you invest in them, but you treat them like they're an afterthought. And you rob the audience and me of something that is potentially beautiful, and because we already know it can be. Like, and if you don't like if you're a TKO, who cares? It's making you money. Invest in the talent, invest in the act. You can do it better than anybody else in the world, WWE, and you can pull it off. All it takes is a little bit of creativity and a little bit of effort, and you decided to give them neither. You decided to give them the absolute bare frickin' minimum, and that is the biggest load of crap that I have ever seen. Especially now, when AEW is gaining momentum back yet again, whatever you WWE refuse to do, it's a lesson that even spawned the creation of AEW as a whole. Whatever you WWE, whatever you TKO will not do or refuse to do, AEW is waiting in the wings to do exactly what you refuse to do and give the fan base what they truly want. And the wrestlers themselves, for that matter. So, yeah, screw you, TKO. Screw you, WWE. You have taken this beautiful thing that I love and you have completely botched it and ruined it. I am biting my tongue to go any more further than that.
I'll
But on
say
that
it for
note,
you. Fuck you both.
there you go. That's acceptable. But now, since we're talking finally about AEW doing what TKO will refuse to, now it's the big question, where do you see people going? Because I'll tell you right now, as much as I would love to see all of the Wyatt Six go to AEW and used more successfully, a la the Hurt Business, I don't see all of them going. I can see Dexter Loomis go. I can see uh, Eric Rowan potentially going to be a mentor for Brody Lee Jr. I can see Joe Gacy going just because MJF was quoted on Twitter as saying Joe Gacy rules. So that's promising enough. Nikki Cross, I believe she's absolutely a good addition to the AEW roster, but frankly, I can see her going maybe to MLW or wherever she chooses to go. The big Motor City Machine Guns, they can go virtually anywhere. Aleister Black and Zelina, I don't see AEW picking him up again. That bridge appears to be burned to the ground, and he pissed on the cinders, so sayonara suckers. The real question is Kairi Sane. To me, Kairi Sane is so AEW coded, it is not even funny. But with her prestige, she can pretty much go wherever she cares to. If she wants to go back to Japan, she'll go. If she still cares to stay in the United States, where she probably has more roots now, you can't tell me that Tony Khan would not write the check today if he could. But I am convinced that no matter how you slice it, Kairi Sane is going to be totally safe. For me personally, the biggest question is what will happen to all of the individual members of the Wyatt Six? Because I hope they truly, in my heart of hearts, do end up pulling a Hurt Business where AEW will take as many of them in as they can and continue the legacy of Wyndham Rotunda in some small capacity. I don't know if it'll
my
happen, but I would like to see it happen. Gentlemen, your thoughts? Where are people going?
my thing is with what you said about Brody Lee Jr. AEW is not going to do anything with him until he's 18. So if we're doing the mentorship of Brody Lee Jr., then a bunch of these guys are going to be following him around the indie scene, doing his doing his uh, doing his doing his matches before he turns 18, because he had the one over WrestleMania week with Joey Janela, which apparently went very well. So if we're talking about mentoring Brody Lee Jr., that's got some years before that can see fruition. So really, I think out of the men, I could probably see Joe Gacy because of the MJF endorsement. Um, I think that Dexter Loomis seems more like a TNA guy to me. I think Dexter Loomis could go to TNA. I think Bo Dallas and I think Bo Dallas and Rowan are just gonna kind of roam, if you will. They're gonna do their independent scene, and then when Brody Lee Jr. is ready, then you'll have those two uh, join him because I think those are the two that are going to be mostly Brody Lee Jr.'s mentors because they're part of the family, if you will. Um, I could see Nikki Cross. I could see Zoe Stark going to AEW for that women's division. I could see it. Um, Motor City Machine Guns, AEW Tag Division. Come on. TNA said that they're welcome at any time, but the Motor City Machine Guns left there for a reason. So I think that they would give AEW a shot before they went back to TNA. Kairi Sane, I think, is pretty lockstep for me. I think she's going to go back to Japan. Um, Apollo Crews at this point, I think, can make more as an indie competitor than anywhere else. I think I think a lot of these guys we try to put them in other companies and all that, but I can see a lot of these guys also just doing the indies, just roaming because doing the indies makes you a lot of money. Ask ask Zack Ryder, ask Matt Cardona. He made more money on the indies than he made in WWE the first time. So it's like we talk about these guys going to places where we can watch them on TV. But some of them might just take their talents to the indies. And at this point, with the way that the indies are building themselves back up again to the point where that's viable. You can make a living just hanging out on the indies. So I see that for Apollo Crews. I could see that for a lot of these guys. But if we're going for federations, I see Zoe Stark, Nikki Cross, Motor City Machine Guns, maybe Joe Gacy going to AEW. Aleister Black and Zelina Vega, MLW or Japan. And if they go to Japan, I don't see Zelina Vega wrestling over there. I I think I don't want to say this legit and all that, but I think Zelina Vega might be done wrestling full time as a whole. I think that I think she'll follow Aleister Black or Tommy End wherever he goes. She'll probably be his ringside manager or something like that. I don't really see her viable as a wrestler after the way WWE treated her since the beginning of her run. Really, I don't see her wrestling anymore. But yeah, I don't see AEW getting a huge haul out of this release cycle.
All
I
right.
I 100% agree with Brian. What honestly, what he said, like I see Motor City Machine Guns going to AEW. I see Kairi Sane already back in Japan because I think it was a day after the release she was already back there, and she can work all over there with no issues. Um, but yeah, I feel like this is a hefty bill for AEW to take on. And again, it's also something where what fits with your company, what fits with your moniker, and for AEW to have people like Motor City Machine Guns, which have a good reputation, good people. You're not getting Alistair Black anytime soon because of how you guys ended. But it's 100% kudos to Brian because I agreed with everything. He said wonderfully. Scholar Tarek, where do you stand?
Kind of hard to argue with that. I honestly, the only thing I could see the whole Wyatt's going to TNA. I could see all the Wyatt Six going to TNA and basically take over that. Um, but I see Kairi going to Japan, making appearances in AEW. Maybe even she can add on to having the dual contract in Japan and AEW. Um, I do agree Apollo Crews would, and someone we actually didn't bring up, which I'm surprised no one did, Andre Chase. I could see him being an independent guy as well. He could keep that Chase U gimmick going everywhere. Um, let's see. Let's see. Santos Escobar, CMLL, as Brian said. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Who did I miss? I could see Aleister Black going to Japan as being in New Japan. That would be a fun, interesting gimmick for him to go, or interesting place for him to go. And I'm trying to think who else. Yeah, the White Six. I think I said everyone that I could of all the names. Is there anyone I missed? Zoe Stark, I could actually see going to being in the AEW Women's Division as well. Uh, I could see her going in a tag with some. I don't know with who, but I would like to see her versus Megan Bayne and who is Megan Bayne's tag partner right now? They're the tag team champions. Who are they?
Who's the other one?
Because she replaced Penelope Ford, right?
Yeah,
Lena Cross.
Lena
yeah.
Cross, thank you.
And I like Lena Cross, but she's sort of came out of nowhere and just set the world on fire right away. I'm like,
Or Zoe Stark and Queen Aminata. That would be a pretty
hmm.
fun tag team. Although I'd kind of prefer Queen Aminata to be a singles person because she does really well, but like she has really great singles matches. But that would be a fun tag team I could see thrown together and actually finding a way to make it work. And that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah, so hopefully when the 90 days is up, we were going to see more of these people all across the wrestling world. I'm thinking that maybe in 80 something days, whenever everything takes effect, the whole wrestling world is going to explode and there's going to be a very exciting time for everybody. While you were speculating, Tarek, I actually just popped in on Twitter and it looks like uh, Dexter Loomis, now I suppose Samuel Shaw, did reunite in an Instagram video with Indy Hartwell, who is cutting his hair and giving him a makeover. So I'm like,
Oh
okay,
dear.
something
It,
is in the works at the very
that
least.
that's
So
why I said that's why I was like, I don't see Dexter Loomis at AEW. I didn't want to say Indy Hartwell's in TNA, so so
I,
but it was but now that you've said that about an Instagram video, I'm like, there's no way Dexter Loomis doesn't go to TNA. Like there's pre-made story there.
hey, we'll all see where everyone ends up. All I know is for
See who's
all
the most
members.
correct.
For all the members of the Wyatt Six, I just want to see all of them, every single one, be showcased on the biggest platform they possibly can. Where everyone ends up, I just want to see the most of them because they all deserve it, very much so, and then some. But now they're not the only ones going on to bigger and better things because we got some call-ups. The call-ups from NXT have continued onto Monday Night Raw, and the most prominent of all, I would say, among them at the very least, it's official. Joe Hendry is on Monday Night Raw, and he gave us a little ditty about firing Logan Paul, which
And
I
immediately gets
dig.
his ass kicked. I love it. But it's like he gives a little ditty, immediately gets his ass kicked, and but who was it? Javon Evans and who came out to save him?
Let's see. I believe it was a whole bunch of faces. We got Stupendous, we got the Joe Henry concert. Yeah, the Street Profits came out.
The Street Profits, even better. I mean, like uh, if you're gonna do six mans, that's that's the way to go. And Joe Hendry coming up immediately going into a feud with the Vision uh, works for me. It's a good place for him to start. I I I think like that was the optimal. Okay, but you can't do him like LA Knight. You can't let him get too big and feed him to Roman Reigns like he did LA Knight. So
Ryan,
starting him
they're
off,
not. I
so
love Joe Hendry just as much as everyone in
you
this
would,
show, and
I,
they're not
I,
going to
I
do a
know
lot
that
with him.
I understand, but it's like they felt this way with LA Knight. Yeah, they were behind the fans were behind him, and WWE pushed him before he was ready, and now we are where we are. It's like just right here is the sweet spot for Joe Hendry right now. He's in a good place. Six man feud with the Vision, teaming with the Street Profits. We're in a good place. Keep it right here.
I mean, for a debut on Raw, you have the concert, you have a catchy little dingle, and let's fire Logan Paul. And like you said, Brian, hitting on the mark again today is it's just absolutely like perfect for him right now. It's something where he is the ultimate face coming up from NXT. Everybody loved him. Everybody says his name and he appeared. So to go against Logan Paul, this larger than life internet celebrity turned wrestler who like now is has this faction with him. I just feel like it is the perfect thing for Joe Hendry, where he doesn't get lost in the sauce, but he's still in that main event, sub main event feud. Scholar Tark, what you say?
What I say is, it is very hard for me to really enjoy anything in WWE right now because my favorite guys aren't gonna rise up to the occasion. I don't see any of them really right. Like it is hard for me to get invested with anyone to try and rise up to a level where they could become main event stars because when you have your matches already set for possible SummerSlam of Roman versus Oba, or that could possibly be WrestleMania. I don't know. I would say SummerSlam because get that shit done sooner. It is impossible for me to get invested in anything really going on in WWE because it's now just stuck in this motion. No one's gonna excel. No one's gonna decel. They're just gonna stay in a position, and it's good. I won't say it's gonna go as bad as like Vince McMahon basically forgetting what he did a week before and just redoing the matches over and over again. But it's gonna be to a point where I'm just gonna be watching and I'm just going, okay, how is this gonna progress in anything? How long we already had Finn Balor defeat Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania and we're still in that feud. So I am at a point right now where I am not in good relations with WWE, where it's exciting to see Joe Hendry on the main roster, but I'm not confident that he's actually going to do anything significant. He'll probably, if anything, he'll probably just win the Intercontinental Championship, and I don't see him going any farther than that with how WWE is. And I hate to
Speaking
be
of,
basically to be the wet towel in this. I'm just telling you right now, I am not in a good place when it comes to WWE. I can't, I'm now flat out refusing to watch them live. I'm I'm just basically relying on the results to be read. I don't even want to give them my views on YouTube to watch the highlights. But I feel like but I kind of have to if I actually want to have a thorough conversation with you guys here. But I'm at a point where I'm finding it very, very hard to be supportive of WWE.
yeah, there's definitely a pretty hefty creative downturn, especially when we're getting, but for me, it really didn't hit until they announced the Obafemi Open Challenge every week. That is when it really felt like, okay, WWE now is just sort of spinning their wheels creativity in a creative sense. Like, and I just really felt it over this past week. First, obviously, with the Wyatts. Now it just seems like everyone's just spinning their wheels and trying to get back on track post WrestleMania, which on its own also left people feeling a little lackluster about things.
Because
So,
it's like with the Obafemi challenge thing, it's like, okay, this right now is the most over guy in your company. But you refuse, but you want Roman to hold the title over the summer. So you cannot put him in a match against Oba right now at Backlash, which is what you should be doing. You should be you Oba should be your champion like immediately. Be- because of the reception. The way that this dude is the face of your company going forward. That's it. It's done. It's been decreed by the WrestleMania and the WrestleMania night and the Raw after WrestleMania crowd. That's it. But you want to drag it out until SummerSlam because that's your next big pay-per-view. So what are you gonna do through this time? Oh, we're just gonna throw him. We're just gonna throw Grayson Waller and people like that on Raws until it's time to get this thing going.
Like
It's
I'm looking at this it's like, oh yeah, he has an open challenge, but what difference is that going to be compared to like Ryback squash matches? Like who in their right mind on this like who in this okay, not in the right mind. Who on this entire roster can go up to Obafemi and be like, "I can give you a good 10-minute match." That is not Roman Reigns or if anything, Cody Rhodes or Randy Orton
because
or CM Punk.
you're running a risk here if you wait until SummerSlam to give him the title. You run a risk of this high that he's on right now going down.
Hmm.
You run that risk. It's like now's the time. It's at a fever pitch right now. If you just throw in jobbers until August,
Which also
you
it
know,
just infuriates me because when you really look at it, the entire mid to lower card are nothing but jobbers because they only have a small handful of people that are actual legit stars that are larger than life. And hell, even that is like I say it's a handful, but when you really get down to it, it really just lands to Roman and Oba. And that's
and now
just
you
another
got to
thing where
stretch
I
it out,
just
and now you got to stretch it out over 5 months
it's like I
because you
I
want to
can't get
put it.
invested in this. I can't get invested in this open challenge because all it is just gonna be feed me more Ryback squash matches. I can't get invested with the Roman Reigns Jacob Fatu storyline because oh okay, Jacob Fatu is in the position where the only place he can now go is in a world title picture. And if they keep going with this storyline where if he loses, he just goes back to being in the bloodline, or at least Roman's bloodline. So he's back to just so instead of continuing to raise his stock, which they kind of have been at a slow pace, but since his break off from Solo, they've been raising him up to a point where okay, there's discussions of him being in the world title main event for WrestleMania. And now it's just back to the whole status quo of WWE. Let's build these people up just to be fed to the star, to the top, to the star, which is in their eyes Roman Reigns. That's another reason why I didn't want Roman to win the title again. I don't want to deal with this shit again. But they're like, oh, we gotta go back to the status quo. No, stop. Do some fucking risks. I mean, look, it's gonna be going back to like comparing to AEW. I wasn't a fan of Darby Allin winning the world title, but now he's putting on these matches with Tommaso Ciampa and Brody King, and they're awesome. And then you have what is it, Kevin Knight next week?
Yep.
Yep,
It's
Kevin
some,
Knight
it's
next
some,
week.
it's these are risks, and AEW. Jeff, you said earlier that they're building their momentum back. At this point, they now reach that point where they are now over their highest from a couple of years ago. I think they are now at that point where they have surpassed their at their biggest before everything that happened with CM Punk and all the all out brawl and all that nonsense. So you have all these risks going with them actually putting use to their entire roster where you can watch the whole show and actually be like, okay, it's all connected. Let's see where this all goes. And then you come to look at WWE and yeah, there are separate things. And once it's like, oh, this guy's been doing pretty well in the mid card. Let's just pinch him and move him up to the main roster. Oh, I don't think he's ready. Let's give him another 5 years before he's actually worthy of actually winning a world title. When there's even no guarantees that he can get a serious injury and actually end his career there. And there goes all your fucking plans for the long run. Yes, I'm still upset about Braun Breaker not winning the world title yet. I'm angry now
Is,
at Jacob Fatu. He can be world champion right now, and I don't think it would hurt anything. And it just makes it be like, I need this because I am at that point where I need to see I don't want the championship. I need the championship. Oh, and now he lost and he's now going back down to just basically being a muscle possibly for Roman. And now we're just going back. Oh, first family. Roman is the top, and he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He's greater than Hulk Hogan. He's greater than John Cena. He's greater than Stone Cold. I don't want this. This is not the type of shit that I'm finding entertaining.
Well,
And
I'm sorry,
and
continue.
now let's just keep using AI to help with our storylines. Let's have AI to
Oh,
give us crappy video promos on fucking NXT. And you're developmental. So are we trying to build up this AI video package for the developmental to move up to the main roster too and get rid of all the past 40 years of their video department who've been making absolutely stellar video packages. That's one of the best things that WWE has. And now they're possibly thinking of replacing it with AI? Why are you it's like
this is TKO for you.
this is
This has
like
always been where it's going. No
it's
one
just
believed
it looks
me.
at it and it's like WWE's greatest enemy is
It's a,
themselves because they keep pulling this stupid shit. Oh, let's make the prices
exactly.
higher because paying for families is not the right business model. Let's focus all on our sponsors. Fuck the fans.
Let
That's
me
what
tell
Nick
you
Khan
something.
and what's his name? The head of
Mark
TKO.
Shapiro.
Mark Shapiro. Thank you. I'm terrible with fucking remembering names. I know who they are and I just can't remember them. But yeah, let's just keep make again, let's not it's all about the sponsors now. Let's do 10-minute intros and 5-minute matches. Cuz hell, if you honestly look at Survivor Series, there's why am I blanking out on names? The War Games. You have War Games building up the entrances, and then once the match starts, it's not even 5 minutes and it's over. When the match officially begins, let's give the gimmick that we base our pay-per-view around, or PLE around 5 minutes. How are we supposed to get invested in this? And the answer, we can't because it's not about entertaining us. Because they don't give a shit about us, the fans. They give a shit about the sponsors. And I'm just going, okay, well, if you don't care about me, why should I give a shit about you? And there are great wrestlers on in that roster. And there's like, oh, it's hard to get invested in them because it's like, what's the point?
Well, thankfully, we live in an era that now features AEW. So like you said yourself, WWE is their own worst enemy at this point because they already created their own competition. So thankfully, when we look over at AEW Dynamite, we have plenty of wrestling. The storylines are progressing beautifully. You just were talking about we got a killer Darby Allin Brody King match this past week.
And a flawed MJF where people are seeing his antics, and now he's once again being his worst enemy. And it's great, and it's just great character work.
And it plays into what I've been saying since Darby Allin won the title. All these title defenses, week after week after week. Enjoy them. And I'm not saying that because I don't like the title reign or anything like that. I love the fact that he won the title. I love the fact that he's defending it. I love the fact that he's having all these matches that he's having. He's losing it at Double or Nothing. That's
Oh,
why he's having all
100%.
these. That's why he's having these title match. That's why he's having all these title matches week after week after week. And whoever he's facing at Double or Nothing, I think it's MJF. He's losing to that person because it's the standard. He has next week will be his third title defense in 3 weeks. MJF defended the title 3 times in 5 months. So it's one of those. It's just telling me everything, but I'm enjoying the hell out of it because the matches and the story behind everything with MJF, all the challengers, it's all a cohesive part of a whole from the company that doesn't tell stories. Scarlet Pete, anything to add on Darby Allin?
No, it's like you boys said, he's been doing great. Like I've never been the biggest Darby Allin fan. Not that I hate the man or the character. It's just it's I will remember you as, Sting's son for AEW. And the reality is, with all his matches he's doing, and we've talked about it before, with the compassion that Scholar Tarek showed before with his hatred of WWE at the moment, you see AEW going in all the right locations, all the right moments. They're just killing it on all fronts. So to have Darby Allin do what he's been doing, and for just the MJF, the character development that we've been seeing. It's AEW. We've said it week after week, ladies and gentlemen. We say it every week on the show. AEW has just been on another league. And when WWE is going this, TKO, we need to have all our investors happy. AEW is like, no, we're here for the wrestling, good stories, what makes you a wrestling fan. So that's what I have. Like AEW's Dynamite this week was fantastic. Great matches, great story moments, great characters. I can't wait. Like it's the joke of, like, man, like Co- uh I'll watch Collision because it's on HBO, you know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
they still put matches that people even want to see on Collision. Not knocking Collision. I am your Collision champion, but in real time, it's also something where they just know how Tony Khan has figured out the method, and it has been working.
And it's basic. It's stick to basics.
Hmm.
Okay. There's the stories aren't convoluted. It's like you don't have to think hard to get these stories, but you're invested in all of these stories, like the Edge and Christian FTR stuff, Edge,
And to
Cope and
and
Christian,
Okada Takeshita.
Okada Takeshka. It's
I'm finally getting
it's
my match.
the Moxley Osprey stuff. It's like it's basic stuff. You don't have to rack your brain. It's not hard to do basic creative. Yes, it's basic creative works more than no creative at all. WWE at this point, okay, there's no creativity. Everything they're doing right now, we've seen it before. We've seen it in Technicolor, and their best storyline that they ran in the last 5 years, they ran it into the ground, and now they're trying to bring it back with the bloodline stuff. That when the WWE was at its peak was mid bloodline, and then they ran it into the ground, and now they're trying to bring it back for whatever reason, and we're here now, and nothing is creative. We've all seen this before. We've all done this before. It's boring. It's stuff we don't want to see again. Where it's like AEW is just doing basic shit with good wrestling matches. With good wrestling matches, basic stories, you get behind these characters, and you're invested. And that's all we ask for as wrestling fans. Give me a reason to watch your show.
And I just have a one question. Did it? Am I? I told Pete about this earlier, but this is now mainly for Brian and Jeff. Were you guys as pissed as I was with the whole Becky Lynch saying that Io Sky is the Marty Jannetty to Rhea Ripley's Shawn Michaels?
I just found myself immensely disagreeing with it, and then I had to have a conversation with my wife about explaining who Marty Jannetty was.
Yeah,
But it didn't land because yeah, it's a heel doing an insult, but it could not be any less true.
It's
There
I
it's
mean,
one of those
like
things. It's one of those things where it's a line that all the bad guys fall back on, even when it doesn't make sense. It's a line that they use.
I
It's
think
a
because
not create.
it didn't make sense that pisses me off the most because I'm just like
It's a yeah. It's a
you.
non-creative line that bad guys use to try to get heat. And in this case, it doesn't make sense because Io Sky and Rhea Ripley are at the same level. That that's a reason why they had to split them up and put them on different shows because they're two of the same coin.
And I'm
It's
just
like
looking at this. I'm like, there's still the open storyline that Rhea has not beaten Io Sky one on one. And yes, she may like Rhea may get the bigger cheers. I mean, she's getting pushed, right? And then you have Io, who I said this to Pete earlier. She was in the world title triple threat at WrestleMania, and the whole story is that it's like the whole she doesn't belong there story arc. And with her winning, just winning the match, it's like, oh yeah, I'm proven wrong. I made it's like I'm a main eventer of WrestleMania. I'm one of the big stars. I'm one of their best wrestlers. It's saying that she's the Marty Jannetty just because what? Rhea because they had to split the tag team because they're too scared shitless to have to focus on the women's tag team, which they've been building for a year instead of just having a one-on-one with Jade. Okay, sure, why not? Again, it's one of those things where when you're trying to get the heel heat, make it make sense. Cause shit, man, and EO is anything but a Marty
Yeah.
Jannetty.
It's like for people who've been watching for years, we know when you're just when you're just saying shit.
Like, is this face like, oh yeah, it's to get heat, but is it like, is this really what WWE thinks of EO?
Of course not.
Let's
No,
hope that's not the case. Because I know
absolutely
she's
not.
being booked. I know she's being booked like shit right now, but god
She's
damn.
still absolutely a fan favorite. I can speak from experience. That is absolutely, I don't see it anything beyond just a heel talking crap. That is absolutely not what the company as a whole thinks. And despite how much we've been ragging on the company as a whole these days for this entire night, the treatment of Io Sky at the very least is still where it needs to be. And I'm fine with that.
In a feud that basically took the heart of this feud away. Yeah, that good job, WWE. You're doing a fantastic fucking job.
Hey, yeah. Hey, I'm just pointing out the good, or at least the lack of mess ups where I can point them out. But
The only
again,
positive the only positive thing of this match not being at WrestleMania is that Asuka doesn't continue her losing streak at WrestleMania. She
yeah,
still hasn't won a
I
match at Mania yet.
I am still convinced we're gonna see some pretty interesting developments when the 90 days no competes are up. But that is a story for another time. A story for now, however, is of course looking to the very imminent future. We are talking about the best week day of wrestling of the week, Saturday night, in a little segment we like to call Saturday Night Slam Masters, where I, of course, am your Saturday night World Wildlife Fund Velocity World Champion. Scholar Pete is your Saturday night AEW Collision World Champion. However, for this week's edition, we're going to go a little something different here. We're going to mix it up just a tad because again, we're not TKO. We like to keep things creative and fresh around here. So instead of it being your usual showdown between yours truly and Scholar Pete, we are going to have a showdown between Scholar Pete and Scholar Tarek. He is going to be reviewing another out of this world, once in a lifetime legendary show that you will see on Saturday night, and he will go into that momentarily. Scholar Tarek, what show are you going to be giving us a sneak preview on of this weekend?
Well, oh no, Pete's going first with this one. If I'm actually doing this, I'm gonna go second on this one. I want to
Well,
hear what
Very
what
well.
Pete
of course,
has.
of course, I'll go
Have the
first.
veteran go first against the noob.
No, no, no noob here. For those unfamiliar, what we do every week is, of course, we do three matches. We are grounded in wrestling, but of course, we have a little bit of giggles here and there, but it has to be based in wrestling. Of course, I usually go against Mr. Jeffrey, but this week I have the pleasure of going against Mr. Tark. So, of course, like and subscribe if you're new and you want to see more. But my Saturday Night Collision Corner is a very mild one, if that. Nothing going on. But, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what's going to open our Slam Masters of the Week. We have the Basham Brothers. That's right. The Basham Brothers are coming in a Kansas City Tornado Street fight. That's right. Kansas City, there's tornadoes, and it's going to be a tornado tag match. And of course, who would they be facing? Who are the ultimate badasses? Of course, I'm talking about the tag team you've always wanted to see. It's Everybody Needs Head, Al Snow, and every and the Boogeyman in the ultimate tag team Tornado Kansas City match. But no, no, no. Let's not get carried away because, of course, we have to bring some familiarity here. And in our next match, we have a hair versus hair. Who's going to be better bald? Are we going to see the tribal chief balding it up, or are we going to see Seth freaking Rollins? Of course, we're seeing the final match of the Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins in a hair versus hair match. But, ladies and gentlemen, you're not here. You're here for the main event. And let me tell you what the main event is. It is one for the record books. It is going to be watched like the great matches of WrestleMania 25. It is going to be like Taker Shawn. We have an Inferno match with he's hot, he's spicy, he tastes great. Curry Man versus Latino Heat Eddie Guerrero in an Inferno match. Who is the more on fire wrestler, literally and figuratively? That is what we bring to you at Collision Corner every Saturday. But now, for the first time ever, we are going to have the newest Saturday night show. So, Scholar Tark, please introduce us to your show and your matches.
Oh, geez, what the hell am I gonna name this show? Okay, so you have Velocity, we have Collision of weekend shows. I'm gonna go and call this one Undisputed Heat. There you go. Keeping the Undisputed name alive with and just merge it. It's because it's not gonna be Sunday Night Heat, it is Undisputed Heat. So I'm gonna kick and surprisingly, we have shows that we don't mind having the same wrestlers on our card. So I'm gonna go ahead and have my show open with a gimmick battle royal with 20 superstars. Now, who are these 20 superstars, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked because I have the list right here, and I'm gonna read it right now. The 20 people in this gimmick battle royal is going to be Fun Dan Go versus Val Venus versus Viscera versus Scotty Too Hottie versus the glorious one Bobby Roode versus Joe Hendry versus Elias versus The Godfather versus Adam Rose versus Aleister Black versus Spike Dudley versus Orange Cassidy versus Uncle Howdy versus Gangrel versus Dude Love versus RVD versus Andrade versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Naked Median, and finally versus the patron saint of the Scholars of Wrestling, Damian Sandow. So that's the first match. The next match is going to be a tag team match, playa, and it's going to be the Battle of the Curses, where you have Papa Shango and Omos versus Danhausen and The Undertaker. And for your main event, we're going to do a Stadium Stampede match where you have the 5 original members of the Bloodline, which is Roman Reigns, the Usos, Sami Zayn, and Solo Sikoa versus the Death Riders of John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Daniel Garcia, Pac, and let's see, I said that, and Wheeler Yuta. And that's Undisputed Night Heat.
Very nicely done, sir. Very nicely done.
Yeah, I
I
thought,
will vote for you. If they don't, I'm voting for you.
you know, I've got to say, I thought I was going to be voting in solidarity with my undisputed scholar, but you know what? It's not in solidarity. I do believe that is the better lineup. I will definitely go and put my stamp of approval on Undisputed Heat this week.
I'll tell you what, both of you came out really strong out of the gate. And Pete, you almost had me with Everyone Loves Head Al Snow. Not just regular Al Snow. Everyone loves Head Al Snow. That's like the special extra rare chase edition of Al Snow, and
And
everyone.
I do appreciate the hair versus hair match because
I
I
do
think
that
that would
too.
actually work.
I let me tell I thought my card was good overall, but as soon as Torg went into the gimmick battle royal, I was like, well, that was
I
fun while it
don't,
lasted.
yeah, I don't know why either of us typically have thought about e telling people about a gimmick battle royal on World Wildlife
The
Fund
the
Collision
the second
TM.
he said the second he said naked Midian, that was it.
You no, you had me at Gangrel versus Damian Sandow. That was the clincher for me. So yeah, Scholar Tarek, congratulations. I think you win your Saturday Night Slam Masters
All right.
debut week. I know what show
Undisputed.
I'm gonna be turning into. I'm gonna be checking out Undisputed Hate
I
this weekend.
I do have a question though. The only reason I added Naked Midian in this is because I completely forgot the name of that one greased up naked guy that just runs in and dances with the bow tie.
The big
Big
fat
Di
oily guy.
That's the TNA version. The original one is Big Dick Johnson.
Big Dick Johnson. Thank you. I just honestly I wrote it down. Before I actually I actually replaced him with because I had Naked Midian already. I put in Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I just had him written down before I crossed it out, greased up deaf guy. Because I forgot his name.
It
And
still would have applied.
that would have made it 10 times better. Naked Midian versus Big Dick John.
Big Dick Johnson. I tell you, I'm terrible with names.
Uh,
Horrible with them.
That would
some
have made
things
it
are
so
scarred
much
into your
better.
soul.
Yeah, yeah. It's like if you can't beat them, join them, and then just dominate over them. Yeah.
I am immediately regretting everything. But now
I can't top that
all
though. Who am I
all of
kidding?
these new victories and new now that we've found all of this new hope for the weeks ahead in the world of professional wrestling, now is a time in our show where we pitch it over to you, our fellow fans. What do you make of these latest releases? Where is everyone else going to end up? Remember where you think or what you where you think everyone's going to end up rather, or what you think. We are all across the internet. Wherever you are, we are too. So let us know wherever you think. And you might be asking yourself, guys, I want to join the conversation, but I don't know where to find you guys. Well, we have a solution for you. All you need to do is just check us out in the link tree in the description box below. That's linktree/scholars of wrestling for all of these relevant media, social media links and much, much more. So you can join the conversation with all of us because we're always going to be breaking it down. We're going to be talking about, we're going to be rehashing and griping about every little thing in the world of professional wrestling. But you already knew that because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're
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 welcome.
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 See you all next week for some backlash.